So how goes it, folks? Jolly Yellow Talking Pete. But we are now at the 10th and final episode of season 1 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Let's go ahead and talk about it. And yes, I looked it up. Episode 10 is the final episode of season 1, so I shouldn't be repeating last week's mistake. So as we saw, the captain, lieutenant, and the doctor, along with the cadets, they were seriously outpositioned. Their backs were to the wall, but they did have some good resources at their disposal, and they were able to work things out. And we got the usual expected happy ending, and a lot still managed to happen. One, Nus Braka managed to put Captain Ake in kind of a position where she was like the proxy for Starfleet, and she was put on trial, so to speak, as Nus Braka claims to be so fair and democratic and everything like that. He laid out the accusations of what Starfleet did to his people in his home world, and we're going to get back to that later. But while that trial was going on, the cadets and everybody else were managing to work their way through the issues and everything, especially the Omega 47, how to locate Ake and Braka where they went off to. And it's all done in a true Star Trek fashion, where they just sit down and figure out the science, figure out how to apply the solution, come up with the solution, doing things that are unexpected and unusual, but then someone figures out, hey, but what if it really means this? And then they manage to apply it properly, and things get laid out and people start figuring things out. And that is exactly what is done here. These Star Trek cadets, or Starfleet cadets, first year cadets, and they were able to pull off some amazing stuff. We actually got to see Jet Reno in mentor, teacher, leadership position where, she was actually in charge of the Athena for a good couple of hours, I guess, in their timing. And we also saw a lot of the personal relationships, things get worked out as well. Like we saw that Genesis and Sam kind of had their conversation about, Sam feeling differently and she wanted her own space, and her and Genesis were able to work out their differences. We also managed to see Jaden and Caleb kind of work their differences out, even though I felt that was a little too quick and easy for the two of them. I guess maybe that's a sign of how strong their bond became so quickly that it didn't take a whole lot of effort for them to work those differences out. And I also got to admit it, in true male fashion, that's probably about honestly how that difference would go and how it would be reconciled. But to bring things back around though, I kind of am not a big fan of what they did with Nus Braka. You see, the thing that I enjoyed about Nus Braka and his potential of being a great Star Trek villain was the fact that he was so keen on taking down Starfleet. And usually, like your Khan and your Dukat and everything like that, that's kind of usually one of their goals, even if it's not the main goal, is they want to take down Starfleet, they want to tear apart Starfleet. And one thing that he had going for him was his anger and rage at Starfleet. Like, it felt vengeful, like he wanted to take revenge on Starfleet for some reason. That reason is explained. The problem I had with it was they delegitimized his reasonings for being angry at Starfleet with, like the what really happened. So he explains why he was enraged and angry at Starfleet and what Starfleet did to him and his people, but then Caleb and Ake turned that around and explained, well, Starfleet didn't do that to you, so why are you angry at Starfleet? And it kind of breaks his, I don't want to say it breaks his character, but it does kind of break his motivations for wanting to be angry at Starfleet and why he would kind of focus in on Ake and make her like a representative or a proxy for Starfleet. So I don't have as much faith in Nus Braka, Captain Ake relationship being as legendary as a Kirk and a Khan and so forth, like I've talked about in other videos like this. And it comes down to breaking that reasoning that he once had. But now that he no longer has that reason, it's just like, he's another Star Trek villain. And I'm sure now it's going to be for the basic, instead of his past reasonings being valid and that's what fuels his desire to tear down Starfleet, it's probably going to be now it's just going to be petty revenge for taking him down at the end of season 1. So if he does come back, it's just going to be he's angry at them for what they did to him at the end of season 1, not what Starfleet did to him in the past as a child. And To me, that just kind of spoils his character a little bit. To now is he doesn't really have an understandable reason to be angry at Starfleet. All in all, overall, I very much enjoy season 1 of this. I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do with season 2. Because so many things were wrapped up in a neat package. Almost every single kind of situation, cliffhanger, everything like that, feels like it was settled off. There is going to be a season 2, but I'm curious what they're gonna do in season 2. And beyond season 2, there's no word on it yet as to whether we'll get a season 3 or not. I know the haters are hoping we don't get a season 3. And they'll probably still be putting out their fake videos hollering about how it was canceled, or some, like, I've seen some of them be like, well, there's no Star Trek currently in production, even though they just finished production on the season 2 of Starfleet Academy. I think the 5th and final season of Strange New Worlds, and they hate new Star Trek, so they gotta figure out how to get their grift on somehow. I'm curious what they're gonna do if we do get to a point where there's no new current Star Trek in production. What are they gonna grift on next? Who knows? But anyway, I enjoyed season 1. How much did you enjoy it? And are you anxiously awaiting season 2? I'm assuming it's probably gonna come in January 2027, just like season 1 was January 2026. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna be here for it. I'm gonna try and get a rewatch in before season 2 starts airing next year. Who knows, maybe I'll live stream it or something like that. Drop your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section. You folks have a good one. Dollar Yellow out, and as always, keep exploring.